Dear students, today we are at the last phase of special theory of relativity. In the last lecture, you have understood that what is Lorentz transformation and what was Einstein's contribution towards special theory of relativity, what is length contraction and time dilation, etc. Today we will go towards the continuation of Lorentz transformation, and here you will learn the relativistic velocity addition formula. What is relativistic velocity addition formula and what is the requirement for that? To understand it, I am going to the very basic that last day also we considered, that I am having two frame of references. Suppose this is S frame of reference where the coordinates are x, y, z, and the measurement of time is with t, and I am having another frame of reference where the coordinates are x prime, y prime, z prime, and it is S prime frame and concept of time is t prime. Last day we have seen that the main difference between Galilean transformation and Lorentz transformation, that in Lorentz transformation the time, it is also a variable quantity. The concept of time is same in all frame of reference. That is not true. That if the frame of reference is in motion or it is accelerating or whatsoever, the concept of time will be changing. So with that consideration, let us proceed that in the S frame of reference, I am having a point. Suppose I am having a point here P. With respect to S frame of reference, the coordinates of the point will be x, y, z, and with respect to S prime frame of reference, the coordinates of the point will be x prime, y prime, and z prime. That you know. Last day also we discussed the same. Now the velocity, if I am having the coordinates x, y, z in S frame, the concept of velocity will be like that: ux, that is x component of velocity. Okay, what I have considered, the S prime frame of reference is moving in a particular direction, any direction with velocity v. Suppose it is moving with velocity v, and this is non-inertial frame of reference, and this is inertial frame of reference. Sorry, both frame of references are inertial frame of references, but one is moving, another one is stationary. This is stationary frame of reference, this is moving frame of reference. Okay, this moving frame of reference is moving with velocity v with respect to the S frame or stationary frame. So concept of velocity in the stationary frame, that is S frame, is ux equals to dx dt, uy, that will be equals to dy dt, and uz, z component of velocity, will be dz dt, as the coordinates are x, y, z. Now in S prime frame, the velocities will be ux prime, that will be equals to dx prime, then dt prime. The concept of time is also different here: x, y, z, x prime, y prime, z prime, and t prime. So u y prime will be equals to dy prime dt prime, and uz prime will be equals to dz prime and dt prime. So from Lorentz transformation, Lorentz transformation equation, you know, that is x prime equals to x minus v into t whole divided by 1 minus v square by c square, where v is the velocity of moving frame of reference and c is the velocity of speed of light. Y equals to y prime equals to y, z prime equals to z, and also t prime was equals to t minus vx divided by c square whole divided by 1 minus v square by c square. Hope you remember that. You remember this one? Hope you remember. Okay. Now, with that concept, we are going to calculate the values of ux prime, uy prime and uz prime. So from this equation, if I now write, this is simple differentiation, only the derivative you are doing now, no physics. Ux prime, that can be written as dx prime dt prime, as you have noted it already. It can be written as dx prime dt into dt dt prime. Do you agree? I hope you will agree. So I have to calculate both the parts separately. So what to do now? Calculate this dt dt prime separately first from this equation. From this equation, I am calculating dt prime dt, then I will take the reciprocal because I know what is the value of t prime. I know the value of t prime. From this value, I am going to calculate this dt prime dt. So dt prime dt, that can be written the differentiation of this 1 minus v dx dt divided by c square, constant 1 minus v square by c square. So it can be written 1 minus v then ux by c square, this is u suffix x, whole root over of 1 minus v square by c square. So the value of dt prime dt I have already calculated. So if I take the reciprocal, I will get the value of dt dt prime. What to calculate further? The value of this dx prime dt. Where from I can calculate? I can calculate it from this equation. So finally, the value of ux prime, that can be written as differentiation of this part with respect to t, that is dx dt minus v whole root over of 1 minus v square by c square into reciprocal of this, there is a 1 minus v square by c square to 1 minus v ux by c square. So the value you will calculate ux minus v divided by 1 minus v ux by c square. Simple calculation. So proceeding similarly, you can easily calculate that uy prime, that will be equals to uy whole root over of 1 minus v square by c square whole divided by 1 minus v, no, it will not be whole divided by, only in case of uy prime y prime equals to y, so it will be uy prime. Proceed similarly, that is uy prime will be equals to dy prime dt prime, that is dy prime dt into dt dt prime. Uy prime, this value, it will give you only uy, so it will be uy, then reciprocal of this dt prime dt 1 minus v square by c square divided by 1 minus v ux by c square, and uz prime will be equals to uz 1 minus v square by c square 1 minus v ux by c square. This was the value of ux prime. So remember these values, ux prime equals to this one and uy prime equals to this one and uz prime equals to this one. These three values are giving you the velocity transformation formula. So you can write them all together, that ux prime equals to ux minus v, then 1 minus v ux by c square, uy prime equals to uy into this one, uz equals to uz prime equals to uz into this one. So what we are calculating, actually we are calculating that uz prime in terms of uz, uy prime in terms of uy, and ux prime in terms of ux. These three equations are called relativistic velocity addition formula. So if you take the inverse velocity addition formula, that instead of ux prime you write ux in terms of ux prime, you will get the inverse of velocity addition formula. That will be more simple. It will be ux equals to ux prime plus v, then 1 plus v ux by c square. Uy will be equals to uy prime, then 1 minus v square by c square divided by 1 plus v ux. This will be ux prime by c square, and uz will be equals to uz prime 1 minus v square by c square, and 1 plus v ux prime by c square. This is the relativistic inverse velocity addition formula. Okay, now I am considering a case that is, as I told, that only the s prime frame is having x component of velocity. Only x component of velocity. So what will happen? So of course you are getting uy equals to uz equals to 0. So finally you will be having ux prime equals to u minus v whole divided by 1 minus vu by c square. I am giving it a name u prime. So uy prime will be equals to 0, uz prime will be equals to 0. In that case you can write u prime equals to u minus v 1 minus uv by c square. So you can rewrite it in this form: u equals to u prime plus v, then 1 plus u prime v by c square in inverse form. And now if you divide also out by c, so you can write u by c. U by c will be equals to u prime by c plus v by c whole divided by 1 by c it will not be 1 by c, dividing also out by c. So I am getting this u by c. In this side, denominator and numerator both will be divided by c. So already I am having 1 by c square here, so it will be 1 plus u prime by c into v by c, dividing both sides, this side by c, this side by c also. Rewrite it: beta equals to beta 1 plus beta 2, 1 plus beta 1 beta 2, where beta 1 and beta 2 are having constant values like u prime by c, beta 2 equals to v by c, and beta equals to u by c. So this is one general term which is often asked to calculate out. That's why I have shown you. Okay, this is not having much implication, but the velocity addition formula and inverse velocity addition formula will be required in our further calculations. So now let us see the relativistic equation of force and variation of mass with velocity. Variation of mass with velocity. This is one conceptual calculation. The concept is very simple, and this concept you have to remember till the end of the calculation, that actually I am having two frame of references. I am sketching it small. I am having two frame of references. One is S frame of reference, another one is S prime frame of reference. This is S and this is S prime. The S prime frame of reference is moving with velocity v with respect to S frame of reference. Okay. The idea is very simple, that in both the frame of references I am having two balls of equal masses and they are having perfectly elastic collision. Why? Because S frame is in rest, and here in the S frame I have a ball here, a small ball at this point A. Suppose you can consider this is ball A, and in S prime frame of reference I have another ball. This ball is B, and both the balls are of exactly same configuration, same mass, same size, and if they are colliding, that will be perfectly elastic collision. So this frame of reference is in rest, this frame of reference is moving, and at the same time I have the concept there is A ball is moving vertically upwards with velocity u, and this B ball is moving vertically downwards with velocity u prime. Okay, now try to understand, one frame of reference is in rest, another frame of reference is moving towards it, and one ball is moving up, another ball is moving down. So on the coincidence point they are going to collide. So next consider that this is the point of coincidence when they are colliding. At this point this S and S prime frame both are in the same space, and A ball is moving, which is moving vertically upwards, and B ball is moving vertically downwards. They are colliding. Okay, and after collision again the S prime frame is moving with velocity v. It will move further away, and another frame of reference which will remain here stationary. There is S frame will remain stationary, S prime frame will move with the constant velocity v. But after collision what will happen? This part is before collision, and this part is after collision. Rather this part is after collision, and this is on collision. This is point of collision. This is after collision. So after collision what will happen? The perfect elastic collision, from very your basic stage of your physics study you have studied that in the elastic collision, after elastic collision, if it is perfectly elastic collision, they will exchange their velocities. If they are exchanging their velocities after elastic collision, it will move downwards. The A ball, this A and this is B, A ball will move downwards after collision, and it was having previous velocity u, and this B ball will move now upwards. This B ball will move upwards with velocity u prime. This is the concept. So now I will try to calculate the momentum before and after collision and try to equate it. After equating the momentum, I will try to understand that the concept of mass is same in both the frame of references or it is different. So initially let us consider the concept of mass is different. As the particle is moving with some velocity in a particular direction, the A ball and B ball both are not in the same state. S frame of reference is stationary frame of reference while S prime is moving frame of reference. So the velocity, if the ball B, you consider it is having two component of velocities. One is downward velocity along the y-axis, and as well as because of the moving frame of reference, it is having some velocity towards right v. So B ball is having two component of velocities while the ball A is only having one component of velocity. That is a basic difference. So let us try to understand before collision, what are the component of velocities of ball A? Before collision, the component of velocities of ball A. What will be the component of velocities? UAX will be UX component. I am considering ball A. Ball A means S frame of reference. UAX equals to 0. UAY, it is moving vertically upwards with velocity U. And UAZ, that will be again 0. Okay. But before collision, for ball B, the component of velocities, it will be different. It is UBX, X component of velocity. It is having X component of velocity. I already told it is moving along X direction with constant velocity V. So it will be V. Then you are having U by, that will be equals to minus U prime. From now velocity addition formula, if you calculate its value, it will be U into whole root over of 1 minus V square by C square. Just now I had calculated the velocity addition formula. Then 1 minus V Ux by C square. And you know the value of Ux? See, Ux is 0. So if you put 0 here, what you will get? You will get only minus U, then whole root over of 1 minus V square by C square. And U Bz, that will be again 0. These are before collision. If these are before collision, what will happen after collision? Now I will take all the calculations after collision state. So you can also write now before collision the total momentum. Total momentum before collision. First calculate for ball A. For ball A, the momentum is I into 0. X component as X component is 0. Then J, I, J, K, three components will be there. M0 into U plus K component is 0. So I am considering I, J, K into 0. Plus for ball B, I, then M, V. V was the velocity along X direction, minus J, then M into U into whole root over 1 minus V square by C square plus K into 0. Okay. One thing I have already considered, that concept of mass of ball A in S frame, that is which in rest frame of reference, is M0. M0 means rest frame of reference. Mass of ball B in S prime frame is M, which is moving frame of reference, M. So after collision, if you now take the velocity addition formula, now go towards the velocity addition formula. You know the velocity addition formula, you can add it now. That from the velocity addition formula, if I understand the relationship between these two, that is the velocity of S frame with respect to velocity of S prime frame, you can write for ball A and make a column for ball B, ball A and ball B. I'm writing in WAX equals to 0, WAY equals to minus U, then WAZ equals to 0. These are after collision. This is I am calculating after collision. Try to understand after collision. If you remember the previous diagram, if I show you the previous diagram, you will understand. Okay, I am going back to the diagram. Here you can understand the after collision, the A ball which was previously moving upwards, now it is moving downwards. So the previous y component of velocity was u, now the y component of velocity will be minus u. And ball B which was previously moving downwards, now it is moving upwards, so its velocity will be plus u now, u prime actually. So with that concept, after collision I am calculating for ball A and ball B. For ball B it will be omega b x equals to v. It is same as the S prime frame of reference is moving with velocity v along x-axis. Then WBY, that will be plus u prime now. It is moving now vertically upwards. So from velocity addition formula you can write it as u into 1 minus v square by c square, and you know WBZ, it will be 0 as usual. So total momentum after collision. After collision, the total momentum, first I component velocity 0, so I into 0, y component minus u, so j into m0 into u, z component 0 plus k ij k into 0, plus here I component v, so I m into v, j component j into m into, here also I have considered for rest ball, which ball is in rest frame of reference, for it m0, and moving frame of reference m into u prime. The value of u prime is this one, so it will be mu whole root over 1 minus v square by c square plus k into 0 0. Now see, this is the concept of momentum before collision, and this is the concept of momentum after collision. So for elastic collision, exactly they will be same. So in both the cases I am not having any k component. So what I am doing, I am comparing the j components. Write down comparing before and after collision. Comparing before and after collision, you can write j into m0 into u plus j m u minus j mu into 1 minus v square by c square. First component j m, this is a j mu, then First component is J mu, second is I mv. So I'm making some mistake here. It's I mv, J mu, then I mv minus J mu into this one. That will be equals to minus of J m0 u plus I mv. This I mv cancels out, plus J mu into 1 minus v square by c square. Now it is fine. So now equate the J components both the sides, and you will be getting twice mu equals to twice m0 u twice mu into whole to the power 1 minus v square by c square. 2 cancels out. You will be getting m equals to m0 whole to the power of 1 minus v square by c square. So the final result, what I am calculating, m equals to m0 whole to the power of 1 minus v square by c square. I hope you understood a little. Now from this equation, if I draw the graph, in this axis suppose I am writing v, in this axis I am writing m. In this equation is m equals to m0 whole to the power of 1 minus v square by c square. This shows you the relationship between the masses in rest frame of reference and moving frame of reference. So when v equals to 0, v equals to 0 means this state, always the rest mass velocity, always the mass will be, v is 0 means the frame of reference is stationary, mass will be m0 if v is 0. With increase in the value of v, the mass will be increasing like that, and at the point v equals to c, mass will be tending to infinity. But this is not possible. Actually later we will see that when v equals to c, then mass will be converted into energy. That's why it is so infinitely high. Actually it will be undefined, it will be infinitely high. So, and if you calculate the p momentum, it will be mv, and it will also be written as m equals to m0 whole to the power of 1 minus v square by c square into p equals to m into v. This one. You can calculate the force equals to F equals to dp dt. So the concept of p you are getting here. You can write m0 into d dt of v whole divided by 1 minus v square by c square. This one. This is simple calculation. Now you can proceed. So the rest mass energy, what is the concept of that? m0 is the rest mass, and when the system is in rest, it will also have some energy in that particular case. But the velocity is 0, how it can have some energy? Now the calculation will see the Einstein's mass energy equivalence formula, where he told that energy and mass, they are equivalent to each other. So if you consider only the mass is present, no velocity is present, then also there will be some energy confined to it, and that concept of velocity will be termed as rest mass energy. So let us proceed with this idea, the last part of today's class, that is relativistic expression for energy and Einstein's mass energy equivalence. Einstein's mass energy equivalence. Okay, So first that I wrote the things we have calculated till now, that is m equals to m0 whole root over 1 minus v square by c square, that we have written already and we have understood. And we know that concept of force can be written d dt of mv, that is d dt of m0 v whole root over 1 minus v square by c square, that we have already learned. Okay, now in any form the increase in kinetic energy will be equals to the work done by the system. So increase in kinetic energy, suppose I am considering that one mass, suppose this is the mass, this is in now rest, and now it is moving in the particular direction with velocity v. So I want to calculate from the velocity 0 to velocity v how much of kinetic energy it has increased. So increase in kinetic energy, that can be written as t. T will be written from 0 to v f dot dl, that is work done f dot dl 0 to v. It has increased its velocity from 0 to v at that particular point. Now the increase in kinetic energy can be written as 0 to v f dot dl. F, I have seen that how to write f into, I can write dl as dl dt into dt. So this can be written as integration of 0 to v f dl dt equals to v f v dt. Now what I am doing, I am putting the value of f. The value of f I have calculated. F I have calculated already. So I can write it 0 to v then the value of f equals to m0 v ddt of that ddt of m0 v whole root over 1 minus v square by c square into dt. So it can be written now as m0 integration 0 to v, then v d of v whole root over 1 minus v square by c square. You check it out, you take d of v, d of this one, you will get to back this equation. Now what do you have to do? Simple integration, very simple integration. You can solve it by integration by parts. Solve it by integration of parts. I am not showing you the entire calculation. This is simple mathematical calculation and no trivial calculation. In any book you will find the calculation. Calculation is very simple. Now from this point only integration by parts, and you will reach to the formula mc square minus m0 c square. You will finally reach to this formula. You can write it as delta m into c square. mc square and m0 c square, what is the difference between them? Increase in kinetic energy. mc square, that means the energy when the velocity is c, and m0 c square is the energy when my velocity is c but the mass of the system I am considering as rest mass, and this part is called rest mass energy. This part is called rest mass energy. So energy, you can write kinetic energy plus potential energy. Instead of potential energy, now onwards you will write kinetic energy plus rest mass g energy in case of relativity. So kinetic energy plus rest mass energy, kinetic energy concept will be mc square minus m0 c square. And what is the rest mass energy that I told? When the concept of mass you are considering in rest frame of reference, that is plus m0 c square. So this cancels out, you are getting finally E equals to mc square. This is Einstein's mass energy equivalence formula. Got it? So from this again we can calculate further, there is E equals to mc square, that is the concept of mass is m0 whole divided by 1 minus v square by c square into c square, that you know E equals to this one. Square both the sides, squaring both the sides, you are getting E square equals to m0 square c to the power 4 whole divided by 1 minus v square by c square. Multiply all throughout, you are getting E square minus E square into v square by c square equals to m0 square c to the power 4. And now we know P equals to mv, that you know, and also you know E equals to mc square from Einstein's formula. Okay, so for this E square I can write m square c to the power 4, and also I can write this from this equation. If I divide these two, I can write P by E equals to mv divided by m c square, so v by c square. So I can write EV equals to P c square. Here I am getting one E square v square, so instead of E square v square I can write P square c to the power 4. So from this equation what can I write? E square equals E square minus P square c to the power 4 divided by c square equals to m0 square c to the power 4. So finally I can write E square equals to P square c square plus m0 square c to the power 4. This equation is called Einstein's energy momentum relationship. So I suggest you to now go through any book to get to concrete idea about this. Following that we will have some problem solving classes, and also we will get to know what is velocity 4 vector and what is the concept of 4 vector in special theory of relativity, and we will try to solve some problems related to time dilation, length contraction, etc. And what about today's class? A summary. In today's class we have started from velocity addition formula prescribed by Lorentz velocity addition formula. Then we have calculated the relation between relativistic mass and rest mass. Then we have calculated the Einstein's energy momentum relationship and Einstein's mass energy relationship. So everything is coming from the idea of relativistic mass and rest mass. The concept of mass is different in moving frame of reference and in stationary frame of reference. If you calculate this one first, then every calculations will be easier. So I conclude for this class now. Thank you for listening.